Your buy-to-let investments could be destroyed from this one simple thing. I'm talking about lettings. I know, the sexiest subject in the world. I want to start with a little bit of a story. So for those that don't know me, I've completed on about 1,000 property deals now. So I've been investing for about a decade, done over 1,000 deals. And what I started to do is build portfolios for people. I started building portfolios for people about 8 years ago, and I realized that when things started to go out of our control, they started to go wrong. And the thing is, with lettings agents or management agents, call them what you want, is they're very low paid. Like if you think about it, you might think, oh, all they do is rent a property and then do nothing. And they get 10%, right? 50, 60, 70 quid a month for nothing. Actually, it's a massive ball ache. And in terms of being able to do the model well for people and make profit, they have to manage hundreds per person to be able to turn a profit. And there's a shitload of compliance. Now, why does this matter to this story? Well, I figured out, do you know what? They've got the longest term relationship with our investors. So we've got a great deal. We've got a great team inside to get the refurbishments done, all of that sort of thing. Then it goes to lettings, somebody else, they mess it up, they're pissed off, put a shit tenant in, all of that. Communication's terrible. And so we thought, and they've got a relationship with our buyer for the next 5 years. So we thought, right, let's bring it in-house. So this was about 2 years ago now at the time of filming this video. I thought what we'd do is bring it in-house. It will be great. We'll make loads of profit and we'll retain our investors. So we keep them on the books. We've got more communication points, increases the odds of you buying again because you've had great service, right? And if you ever do want to sell in 5, 10 years time, whatever it is, the equity's gone up loads, you've tripled your investment, why not then get it back? So, let's say the equity's gone up over 10 years, you tripled your investment, maybe they want to sell. Well, by controlling that, we can sell in-house. So why am I saying this? So I did that, right? I thought, brilliant. So I hired a manager 2 years ago, and I realized very quickly, we're just as shit as everyone else. Probably not the best way of selling myself, right? But it's honest. So actually, we made the same mistakes as everyone else. It was a massive loss in the business, and we had too many properties per individual. We had a system where this person was trying to manage it. Then we've got the HSSRS system, which is like when we're doing a refurbishment, it needs to be compliant to lettings, but most properties weren't getting done to letting standard. Then we had to go back, communication issues, emails from investors, people getting pissed off because the team weren't emailing back. We had one team member going out and doing viewings, one team member listing properties and negotiating, one team member managing refurbishments, getting all of the shit that the refurbishment company didn't do, all of these sort of things. And so I realized that actually it really is a bit slagging off other people, then bringing it in-house and being worse ourselves, or just as bad, certainly. So we then had to remodel it. So what we then did is got portfolio managers, so one dedicated person, and we rolled this out about 6 months ago now. It's working incredibly well. And so our standards have gone up really good. Huge amount of 5-star reviews, as you can see here, for the lettings company, which is unheard of, by the way, to be tracking at 4.9 on Trustpilot for a lettings company. Communications getting better, compliance is on point, tickety-boo all the way through, and we're still losing money. As of today, we've lost £90,000 this year. What? But it's fine. The reason why I'm telling you this is getting lettings right is actually incredibly difficult, and it's taken me about 2 years with the right people in place and losing a lot of money to get it right. And you might think, well, that's a stupid business if it loses money. Well, we're going to turn a profit in it at some point. It will be this year. But the most important thing is we increase the quality by being great for our investors. By the way, if you already listen to this guy and I definitely don't want to self-manage, I want someone to do it yourself, and you want to build a portfolio, put APG. So we actually help people build a portfolio hands-free. So if you want that, you've got 50K minimum to invest, which is what you'll need for the property. Put APG and we can build your portfolio hands-free. So I started the business, fucked up, made it worse, dealt with loads of complaints, and we turned it around. What did I learn? That's what I'm going to show you. So the first thing is seamless onboarding of the property. it's really important with this that when a property is coming through to completion, that you get involved right then with finding your perfect management agent. And I really do recommend that you absolutely use a management agent and don't do it yourself. But this will help you if you want to do it yourself as well. Now, let's say it's completed. Why would you do it then? Because you're going to get it refurbed, right? Well, yes, but the sooner the management agent knows that that one's going to be available in 10 weeks' time once the refurbishment is, they can start listing, they can start talking to people, they start having those conversations as early as possible, because where you really lose money as a buy-to-let investor is when the property is empty. And every single day that is empty is costing you money, and days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and so on. The onboarding is really involved in effective communication and checklists. So for example, you might not know this, but if you've got a refurbishment done, that doesn't mean it's tenant ready. So again, this was a really big learning curve for us building the lettings department, is it has to be HHSRS signed off. And what this means is things like you have to, if there are tiles or pavement slabs, you need to walk on them, make sure they're not wobbly. There's certain things with the doors, they need to be a certain quality. What hinges were used. I know it sounds like a weird one, but one that is often forgotten on refurbishments is a handrail when you're going up the stairs, and it has to be a specific height when you're going in. It has to be EICR compliant, it has to have CP12. So create a checklist with all of these little things, and it sounds crazy. We literally have something saying walk around the pavement outside, make sure there's nothing wobbly. Does every stair, even the stairs outside, does it have a handrail? Is it this height? Double check absolutely everything. The number one thing I'd actually say, being compliant on HHSRS is even more important than a decent refurbishment. So onboard the property effectively. The next thing is seamless onboarding of the tenant. And this all starts with the listing. All right. So many agents, they just put up some random photos that aren't particularly decent. They then get any tenant that comes in, but actually get professional photos. They cost around £100 plus VAT. Typically for our clients, we just pay for them. You might think that's a lot, but if we're going to manage it for 5 years or so, get some really good photos. You want to sell it in its best light. On the photos, make sure your front photo is the best part of the house. Most people, what they do is just put the outside of the house. The reality is, if your kitchen is the thing where you're like, yeah, that looks brilliant, then put the kitchen as the first photo. You want the photo that's going to get the most attention. They get people clicking on it. And even, by the way, when you're scrolling down, you see house, 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 kitchen, it stands out amongst the rest. So even if you can't pick a room that's decent, and I guarantee you, you will get more clicks. Next is the copy of the advert. Be specific about who you're looking for. So you'll notice at the start of this video, I did a hook, and that hook is like this one thing that's getting you bought into watching this video. And hopefully I've not bored you so far. So when you're looking at it, don't go, this is a beautiful house. It's got 3 bedrooms and blah. It's like, fuck mine. Call out the person you're looking for. Our ideal tenant is a young working professional that wants to make this house their home. If you're looking for a property in an area that does X, Y, Z, and you're looking for a property that does X, Y, Z, then this could be for you. The particulars are below. But the reality is the best thing you could do is have a chat with one of our reps. Click the link to the right. Let's have a 5-minute consultation. You know, something like that, where you're doing something a little bit different. Now, again, most people don't go through this effort because as a management agent, you're only getting 50, 60, 70 quid. Well, here's the thing that I would say. That is £900 a year that you currently are not getting because you get paid 0. fuck all when the property isn't rented out. And that goes for you if you're the potential landlord. Now, when you've got the tenants coming in, honestly, go for the quality of tenant rather than the person that makes all the promises. So if you need to do your checks on them, you need to do your qualification of them, make sure they can actually pay. That's not just their credit check, their profile history. Talk to past landlords. Little tip if you are a letting agent here, most of you aren't. But I always ask for 5 years landlord history. I do this for 2 reasons. Number one, if it's their last landlord, then they will say whatever it is to get them out of the house. Number two, if you're talking to 3 or 4 landlords, do they have a property they're looking to let out and you can get some more business in? Nice little tip for you there. onboard the tenants in the right way. So once you've onboarded the tenant, you want to make sure, I like doing these on Zoom calls so I can send them the recording, and I just say, hey, let me just walk you through some of the ground rules. Again, it's a 15-minute chat. I want to really set them up and make this their home. Hey, is there anything else? Like, massive congratulations, really exciting. Is there anything else we can do to make this a great experience for you? You know, and it could be absolutely anything. Do you know, like, really, I wanted X, Y, Z in property. Let me talk to the landlord, no promises. Let me see what I can do. Happy tenant, happy home. All right, you want them there for the long term, and the more they can see it as their home, your house, the more they'll treat it like that, and they'll stay there and pay you for the return. Finally, outsource, outsource, outsource. And I mean all the way through. So there's a big difference between being a landlord and an investor. And we want you being an investor that's getting a good return on your time invested. Most people, when they're looking at investments, they look at the return on investment, the ROI, but the ROTI, return on time invested, is almost just as important. For me, way more important. I want to be spending as little time as possible. This investment is meant to be passive. So that is outsourcing the management, outsourcing the energy performance certificates, EPCs, outsourcing electrical certificates, the EICRs, outsourcing the gas certificates, the CP12s, outsourcing the maintenance and everything between it. I don't want to talk to the tenants, and neither should you. And by the way, if you're watching this going, I don't just want to outsource the management, I want to outsource everything before, which is the refurbishment, the legals, the financing, and the sourcing of the opportunity. That's what we do, all right? So if you want us to take it off your hands and do everything end to end, put APG in the comments. You need 50K or more. This isn't a fee to me, by the way. It's 50K as a deposit, refurbishment, all of that. 50K or more, put APG in the comments. We will help you build your portfolio hands-free. And worst case scenario, you just get some strategic advice on how you can do this. But if you want the best access to the investments, hands-free, put APG, we can help you. The final thing I really want to give you a tip on is you want to find the problems before you otherwise would. So if you've got a tenant that's doing something dodgy in your property, if you've got a tenant that's maybe not looking after your property, if your tenant has put a single tenancy but there's 5 adults living there, if there's any issues like that whatsoever, you want to get ahead of your game. So create interim checklists. And these checklists should involve a phone call out, a random stop check-in, messaging every now and then, just a reminder to look after your property. So like an automated email, hey, just want to check, make sure you're looking after the property. It's really important that we can do 48-hour check-ins at any point. We want to make sure you're looking after the property as best as possible. Not only of that, we really like to do just either a quarterly or biannual check-in. So we want to make sure that we're dropping in. You need to make sure that they've got quiet enjoyment. There's a lot of laws around tenants right now. Quiet enjoyment is one of them. You can't just go, I'm popping in tomorrow randomly. You need to give them a certain amount of notice, but have these checklists in place. The way you can save money is by doing it right in the first place. We have a term here where we say measure twice, cut once. So if you do it right, you do it once. You do it wrong, you do it twice. And often people focus on paying the least amount of money to get the worst outcome, and then they're paying again and again and again. And the amount of times I talk to property investors that we buy properties from, by the way, and you think, why would somebody sell their investment? Because they've paid cheap all the way through. That goes from buying the property, shit area, shit properties, and we have to end up going, we're not buying, even though it's a great investment, it's a rubbish area. So we want to pay a slight premium to get the best areas, a great refurbishment, great management of property all the way through. Remember, price is what you pay, value is what you get. Focus on the value all the way through and you won't go wrong. The reality is, let's say you paid overall £2,000 more. If you're intending to keep your investment for 10, 20 years, let's call it 10 years, that's £200 a year. Let me ask you, would you prefer to pay an extra £200 a year for the next 10 years for peace of mind and a truly hands-free investment? Then that's what I mean by that. Price is what you pay, value is what you get. If you want value, put APG in the comments. We'll have a free one-to-one consultation call, a strategy call to understand where you're at, where you want to get to. And if you've got the funds to invest and we can help you on the journey, we'll tell you what that looks like. But otherwise, make sure to hit the like button if you got value from this video. It really does help us out. And if you're new, don't go anywhere before subscribing and hitting that notification bell. I'll see you in the next video.